Man, that was a tough day of work. You know, bookies, somebody smashed a machine up, angry people, and let's check the news. Son of a bitch! Whew, well, that was a bit of a shocker, wasn't it? Hi guys, Andre Harrison here, and the second vlog I'm doing in about 3 days. This was requested by you, the people on Twitter, who follow me at Harrison101HD. Shout out to you guys. And, yeah, this is a video blog of me talking about Nico Rosberg suddenly announcing his retirement. This happened at about, I want to say something like 1:15, 20 past 1 this afternoon, British time, and he's at the FIA prize-giving ceremony. And, yeah, shock announcement, he's hanging up the gloves at the age of just 31. Rosberg is retiring, and, yeah, it's drawn a lot of shock and reaction, obviously, and a lot of conversations about a lot of different, you know, branching paths that come as a result of Rosberg's retiring. And here's me throwing my hat into the ring. No rage kitchens involved and no pussy jokes. But here's my 2 cents on the whole thing. First of all, an incredibly brave decision from Nico Rosberg, and I want to applaud him for that. I have tremendous respect for not just Nico, but I think for any athlete who had the balls to, you know, hang up the gloves or stop competing in their absolute prime, which is what Rosberg had. Rosberg's had, by any measure, his best season ever in Formula One, and he's retiring way earlier than the average F1 driver does. I mean, he's 31, and most drivers, and even a lot of world champions, especially in previous generations, would be retiring at late 30s, maybe even early 40s. I mean, look at the most recent example. Michael Schumacher, I think, was 43, I want to say, when he retired. So, for Rosberg to retire at 31 is incredible, and it reminds me a lot of Kobe Bryant. And for those guys who don't know who Kobe Bryant is, he played for the Los Angeles Lakers. He retired earlier this year from the world of basketball, and Kobe's one of my favourite athletes of all time, because what I loved about Kobe Bryant was just how honest he was, and the fact he just did not give a flying fuck about what anyone ever thought of him. Like, he was often the most despised and disliked figure in American sports. From the, you know, he was booed everywhere, people hated him, and Kobe Bryant learnt to embrace that more than any modern athlete I can remember, and the only real other person in that conversation in terms of embracing the hate and fueling it to inspire and motivate would be Nico Rosberg. Kobe bowed out the way that many thought Kobe should have bowed out, by putting up 50 shots in his final game in the NBA and scoring 60 points on his farewell game, which is just one of the most incredible sporting spectacles you'll ever see. And Rosberg reminds me a lot of that. And like I said, I'll always have respect, a tremendous amount of respect, for anyone that is willing to stop doing what they love doing for what they consider to be the greater good, or to go out on their terms. Because, again, growing up as a massive American football fan in the NFL, we see so many players that don't have that same privilege. You see that jersey on my wall, the red one for Rob Gronkowski? Those guys that don't know, in the NFL, he's got a herniated disc in his back, and he's had many, many injuries in his career, many of them season-ending. And he's probably the greatest tight end ever to play the game in terms of as a raw athlete, but his career is most definitely going to be compromised from all the injuries he's had. And anyone that knows the NFL now and its history of concussions and head injuries and just the severity of injuries in general, and players coming out being unable to walk or being crippled down the road, many athletes don't get that same privilege. Many athletes feel like they have to keep competing sometimes. And if you are in your prime, I mean, we forget, Rosberg signed a 2-year extension just a couple of months ago, back in July. You know, midsummer break. You know, he'd signed a new extension. The next thing you know, he said it himself in his statement after Japan, he was going to hang it up if he felt, because he was able to control his own destiny to win the title, and he felt, if I won the title, I was going to hang up the gloves and retire. And you know what? Good on him. And I think it's a shame that many fans have been more cynical. I mean, ultimately, I can't criticise you for having a more cynical outlook on how Rosberg is doing these things, but people are saying from a competition standpoint, it's cowardly. He doesn't get to defend his championship. He should defend his title. It's his way of saying, oh well, he can't beat Hamilton again, so he's going to hang it up because he knows he got away with one this year. I know Into the Barrier said that on Twitter earlier, and he's a Hamilton fan in his own right. Which my response is, get a grip. There's more to life than motorsport. There's more to life than competition. We forget, Rosberg got married last year. He became a father in the last 12 months. He's now got more to life than just driving a racing car around a circuit for 20 weekends a year. He's got a family to think about. And the statement at the end where he says, my wife can have her husband back and I can be a dad to my daughter again. That should be the closing statement to any discussion about fucking competition or anything along those lines. There's more to life than competing, and I think, lest we forget, we are talking about arguably the best seat in the history of motorsport. He gets to drive the fastest and arguably the best Formula 1 car this sport has ever seen. One that has won 51 of the last 59 Grand Prix. That, for me, takes true bravery. And you can interpret what he said in however you like, but I am personally of the belief that if you're the kind of person that, wants to ignore Rosberg and the family and that side of his motivation for quitting Formula 1, I think you're being narrow-minded, and I think you're ignoring the bigger picture. Because do you really think Nico Rosberg's going to sit at home thinking, oh man, I just won the world title, but I didn't beat Hamilton that convincingly. Let me go out there and beat him again. No, he's not thinking like that, and he's not the kind of person to think like that. And to be honest with you, he shouldn't be judged for that. He's got a family. He's got his little baby girl to think about now. And again, family, in my opinion, family should come first. And if that is what motivates Rosberg in the next part of his life, then I applaud him for it, because that couldn't have been an easy decision. I mean, bowing out in your prime, in the best seat in Formula 1, on top of the world. I mean, if your heart is telling you then it's the right time to stop, then more power to him. And like I said, props to him for doing it his way. And he's had to put up with so much shit from fans, the media, members of the press. Again, he's had like a mountain's worth of skeptical fans, skeptical press give him shit for being 1% worse than Lewis Hamilton, who is the best driver of this generation. That's just not fair, in my opinion, and I'm glad he was able to send an ultimate middle finger to everybody involved by going out in this blaze of glory and going out on top as a world champion. I think that's fucking amazing. More props to Nico Rosberg. He's a bad, bad motherfucker, and for that I will truly respect him for it. Talking about replacements real quick, I think Pascal Wehrlein is the safe bet. Obviously, as a Mercedes Academy driver, had an excellent first season in Formula 1, scored points in his rookie season for Manor, scored a point for Manor in his rookie season, to be technical about it, but had a very solid first year. They've already got Ocon at Force India, that's another very solid driver in there. Why not throw him in there as a valid number 2 to Lewis Hamilton and give him the baptism of fire treatment and maybe forge him by fire by giving him that opportunity? I think that would be really cool. Other names I've heard mentioned, Fernando Alonso would be fireworks. I don't know if Alonso is that loyal to McLaren, if he's got a get out of jail free card to leave the team. I don't know. Valtteri Bottas is managed by Toto Wolff, so there's investment there. I think Bottas is a pretty safe bet as well. I don't think he's that spectacular a driver, but that could be interesting too. Even heard Sebastian Vettel's name thrown around there if he wants to get out of the Ferrari rebuild early, which again may not be a terrible idea if they come knocking. Even heard the rumour, apparently they tried to buy Nico Hülkenberg out of his new Renault contract, which would have been insane. Hülkenberg at Mercedes and finally getting the top tier seat that so many people have wanted him to be with for so long, that would be cool. But anyway, I'd love to hear your general thoughts, your general opinions on Rosberg, the retirement, all that good stuff. I'd love to hear your perspective on that. As always, I hope you guys enjoyed the video blog. Again, if you want to see more of these, please hit that like button. Let me know how you feel. And if you haven't seen it or listened to it already, the new episode of Motorsport 101 just came out today as well with Adam, Ryan, RJ, and Lewis Sotheby from Bike Live. It's a great episode, our longest one we've ever done, talking about that finish in Abu Dhabi. But until next time, I'm Andre Harris. Thank you very much for watching, and I'll catch you guys next time. Sayonara.